Well, just the fact that it happens so quickly and it takes a little bit of brains, a whole lot of strategy, and just like bam, bam, bam.
That was Jeannie Mai seemingly talking about how she got blindsided by Jeezy's filing. But the rapper might want to be a little worried because she seems to know where all his skeletons are buried, and she's not even the only one.
You know, I'm just keeping it real. Jeezy did not like anybody more shine than him.
You know how they say one shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet? Well, Jeezy and Jeannie Mai severing their ties was proof of that, as the pair seem to have previously painted themselves as perfect. Since the news got out, it's almost as if everyone has been on Jeezy's side, and maybe rightfully so, because G was the one of them who was parading a picture-perfect marriage all over the internet. And while it's easy to stay in that box and blame the woman, recent re-rations have just proven that even Jeezy himself isn't much of a saint. In fact, it seems his marriage to G might have been riddled with deep, dark secrets that, if ever saw the light of day, would probably shift the perspectives of people on their relationship not working out well. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems those very secrets might have finally found their way out. Many people know Jeezy as a rapper, and while that usually comes with a particular kind of hardcore view, Jez's appearance seems to be a lot more than just a view. According to reports about the life the man led before finding his way to G, it seems he might not have been the most upstanding citizen in the country. This realization about him seems to have been what led G to paint them as a perfect couple, where she's the only one that calms him down in his rage. You know, like in the movies, this seems to have been the part that took all the media attention, and by extension might have been why so many people were so quick to point fingers at Jeannie Mai. And their ship hit a glacier. But those days are now on pause with the recent updates about the man. Besides having a seemingly violent past with a series of charges and even alleged jail time, the rapper is also respected in some gangs in the country. This is a contrast from the community leader narrative he has been trying so hard to push about himself since when he and G got together. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible that the man has changed, but if his past is filled with a series of affiliations to violence among other atrocities, he was allegedly caught up in what's to say he wasn't the core of the problem in his relationship with Jeannie. These details have gotten a lot of fans singing about who he really is when he's not getting interviewed or promoting his book and using the past to draw inferences to the present. You could say the man might be hiding something with his current desperate need for acceptance in the eyes of the public, and now that he's no longer officially bound to Jeannie, is this the point where she spills all the beans about this man that have been left in the dark? Or could that even be the reason he so desperately wanted to cut his ties to her? The questions in this are almost endless, so if you've ever had doubts about Jeezy's true intentions, you might want to stay tuned till the end. Even now, with doing the work, that don't mean everybody else is on board. And that's the crazy part. But that's the thing, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go, and you gotta let them be on their own journey. Even with how cutthroat the entertainment industry is, particularly the rap sector of the industry, there are probably only a few people who can say they've had it as bad as Jeezy in life, from getting handled inappropriately while he was young to getting involved in deals in his teen years. Many people would say it's a wonder that the man was able to stay, let alone even married, for as long as he did. Speaking of the failed marriage, that's the entire reason Jeezy is even in the headlines at all. The rapper, who's known to not particularly be a fan of sitting for long periods to talk about himself, shocked the internet a couple of hours ago after he opened up about his life like never before to Jeannie Mai in an hour-long conversation with the Love Jones actress shared on his YouTube channel. Jeezy spoke candidly about his split from Jeannie Mai, childhood trauma, and his estranged relationship with his late mother.
Even now, we're doing the work. That don't mean everybody else is on board, and that's the crazy part.
But that's the thing, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go, and you gotta let them be on their own journey.
As I sit here at 46, I can't honestly tell you that I've experienced love, especially not unconditional, he told Long during the conversation. Jeezy also admitted that his split from the former The Real co-host has not been an easy journey. I can tell you that I'm sad. I can tell you that I'm appointed. I can tell you that I'm uneasy.
When I left my mother's house, I had to be around 13, 14 maybe.
Yeah.
And the reason why I left, because she pulled a gun on me, right?
Okay.
And basically told me, like, you know, you're going to either do what I say, or I'm going to take you out of this world type thing.
The put-on rapper told the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air Alam that he and Maui tried therapy before separating last month. Jeezy released a statement regarding their breakup. The decision to end this chapter in my life was not made impulsively and comes with a heavy heart, the Grammy-nominated artist said. Despite this, my love and respect for G remains, and the time we spent together holds a cherished place in my heart. Elsewhere in the interview, Jeezy recalled how his grandmother was very religious and wow. I'll always make sure he was in church and Sunday school. The Senegal rapper revealed he'd reached points later in life when he realized why his grandmother taught him to turn to God. Long asked what the origin of his trauma was, Jeezy confessed that while there were several disturbing events, the first of many was being left with a babysitter that was a woman that was older than me and her touching and doing things to me that don't normally happen to kids, like molesting. Long asked, he confirmed she was correct. Other childhood troubles dealt with being exposed to violence.
Hip-hop artist Young Jeezy turned himself into authorities last weekend over charges stemming from a 2012 altercation with his son.
The Trap or Die artist recalled playing with neighborhood kids when their parents got into an argument that led to the mother being shot multiple times while the children were present in the home. While seeing Jeezy's comments touched on several aspects of his life, it had fans talking about different aspects too. To some, this man is nothing short of a scam artist trying to redeem himself. Others seem to think he's lying about his life experiences. One person wrote, "This sounds like a total lie. These guys always want to sound bigger than they are." There is zero evidence or history of Jeezy ever being anything bigger than a street-level small fish dealer. Another user wrote, when Jeezy wanted to elevate, he decided so by marrying an Asian woman. When that didn't quite work here, he's pandering towards black women again. And watch most of you eat it up. Someone else also talked about how his choices may have been influenced by past trauma. They wrote, Jeezy digging deep, but there is a stigma when dating G men who have bad relationships with their mom. I feel like they grow up feeling a way toward black women. BC, they don't heal their mom trauma. That person actually had a point, because according to the rapper, by 8 years old, he said had already accepted that violence was the norm. Another factor was the very toxic relationship with his mother, consistently getting worse, as he revealed she pulled a on him when he was around 13 or 14. All of these details about Jeezy's past were shocking to fans for any reasons, one of which is that the man has been trying so hard to paint himself in a different light now. He's been in interviews talking about his healing process and all that. But what most fans don't know is that this tragic part he talked about is only half of the story. In fact, just as his mom was seemingly violent toward him, is the exact same way he's been allegedly violent toward his son, and his was worse, so much that he got arrested for it, according to reports from a couple of years back. Jez ran into some trouble with the law after he made the headlines for dark details involving his son. At the time, the rapper was arrested in Atlanta on suspicion of battery, false imprisonment, and making threats against his then 17-year-old son. Jadarius outlets reported.
Atlanta news stations report Jeezy, whose real name is Jay Jenkins, turned himself into the Fulton County Sheriff's Office January 3rd for charges including battery, false imprisonment, and making terroristic threats.
According to court documents, Jeezy got into a bathroom fight with Jadarius in September 2012 and threw him into a glass shower door, causing him to hit his head. He then allegedly punched the boy in the face, took him into the bedroom, threw him on the bed, and continued beating him. Sounds like it's going to be a while before someone gets another Father's Day gift. Sources connected to Jeezy told TMZ the rapper got into an explosive argument with his son, but it never turned really violent. Jeezy told he had become a punk kid with an attitude, and Jeezy no longer wanted him in his house. TMZ also reported that Jadarius reportedly became belligerent, and the pair screamed at each other. Jeezy has said he never hit, choked, or dragged his son, but does admit to pushing him to the ground when Jadarius got in his face.